The story of the car actually begins in the mid-80s or somewhere in the end of 80s there on the stands behind the La Source. And we were watching guys like Johnny Cecotto and Steve Soper in their E30s rushing down from the La Source to the Eau Rouge. And at that time I thought, one day I would like to have a car like this. I'm Paul Krell, and we're here in the pits of my favorite racetrack, as I think the most beautiful racetrack in the world, Spa-Francorchamps. And I'm here with my BMW M3 E30 DTM. The story of the car is a long one, and it begins somewhere in the end of the 80s when I was sitting with a few friends there on the stands behind the La Source. And some guys like Steve Soper and Johnny Cecotto came out of the La Source and went to the Eau Rouge in their E30s. And after many, many years, this story took shape in 2016 when we decided to build this car. We got an original body, and we thought long if we should get it to an original fit or if we should modify it. And at the end of the day, we decided to modify it a little bit and to modernize the car carefully. So as you can see, optically it's an M3 DTM from 1989. However, technically we've made some modifications. It's the original engine. It's a 2.5 liter, 4-stroke, naturally aspirated engine. What else, you might ask? And we're using a Paddleshift Drent gearbox in this car, mainly for security reasons. Because one mistake with a manual gearbox could cost the engine, and it's not so easy to overhaul and to rebuild this engine. This is why we decided for the Paddleshift engine and the sequential gearbox. Also the brakes, the AP brakes are not original, but next to this it pretty much is. One of the most fascinating qualities of the car is the sound. I just love the sound. It gives me goosebumps when I hear it, and I think it also gives a few other people goosebumps when I pass along the pit stop. This is 4 cylinders and naturally aspirated, but let's have a look at it. So what you see here is the original 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine from 1989 from the DTM. It can rev up to 9,500, 9,600, but we don't do that because that would limit the longevity of the engine very significantly. So we rev it about 8,500. We get about 310 horsepower out of it. Now you might think 310 horsepower is, wow, that's not very impressive. There's a lot of cars out here that have more. Well, that's true, but don't forget, first of all, it's a historic car. And second, this car has a net weight of about 1,020 kilos. And then 310 horsepower is a different story. The only thing that is not original here is this pneumatic actuator, which works with the pedal shift. We also have a 4-channel ABS, which the guys back in the 80s didn't have. Here you see that we're using a pneumatic pedal shift together with the Drent gearbox. And also, well, it's for comfort reasons, but also for safety. We have installed a digital information display by AIM so that I have all the engine parameters, especially the rear axle, which is a bit critical concerning the temperature, in view at all times. And last but not least, you can tell that I did not only want it to be a nice car from the outside, it was also important to me that it's a very nice car from the inside. And so we have this special Alcantara interior in here. Last but not least, as I said, we had a lot of problems with the temperature of the rear axle. This is why we now use an active cooling for the rear axle. The cooler is right below here. And you see the beautiful craftsmanship with the gasoline pump, etc., etc. So altogether, yes, on one hand, this is an M3 E30 DTM, but on the other hand, for me, it's much more than that. For me, this car is a dream come true. So there's a variety of reasons why I'm here. First of all, this car is built for riding. It's not built to stand in the garage, so I just love to ride the car. Second reason is this wonderful racetrack here. I think Spa-Francorchamps is the most beautiful racetrack in the world, and it has that incredible variety of curves, that incredible variety of challenges, high speed, low speed. I just love it. Could there be a happier feeling for someone who rides a race car than coming out of the Eau Rouge on top and saying, yeah, this time I got it? And third, with a car like this, it's important that you are on track days where you can rely on people there being reasonable. And this is why I love to come out with RSR. There's a lot of wonderful cars here. There's a lot of fast cars out here. Of course, we're doing our best to drive as fast as we can, but at the same time, there's reasonable behavior on the racetrack. Everybody knows that we have some precious jewels that we're moving around here, and everybody takes care of this. So, you ever feel like doing a wonderful racetrack, looking at some nice cars like this, listening to the beautiful sounding cars like this one and others, come out to the racetrack at Spa-Francorchamps with RSRSpa. It's going to be a perfect day.